So we'll be going over fast fashion, the environmental impacts of fast fashion, sustainable fashion, and the sustainable fashion show. Oh, Katie just introduced me, but I'm Sierra, fashion merchandising student here at Tech. And I'm also the vice president of the Sustainable Fashion Society, which runs the Sustainable Fashion Show. So what is fast fashion? Webster Dictionary defines it as an approach to the design, creation, and marketing of clothing that emphasizes making fashion trends quickly and cheaply available to consumers. So I'm sure some of y'all know some fast fashion companies. Do y'all want to like shout some out? Temu, yes, that's one. Zara, yes. Target is, yes, they are technically a fast fashion company. Anything else? Yes, Walmart. I have some on here. We have Shein, of course, Zara, H&M, Victoria's Secret, Gap, Urban Outfitters, Free People, and then some other ones are like Forever 21, Guess, Amazon, Cider, Uniqlo, whole bunch. So yeah. So what does that mean for you? So a brief history lesson here. Up until the mid 20th century, the fashion industry ran on 4 seasons: fall, winter, spring, and summer. And then in the 1960s, the paper dress happened. So the paper dress was a promotion stunt by Scott Paper and Company to advertise their disposable paper tableware that they were making. And the fashion, they were just supposed to be like, maybe, okay. So it was just supposed to be like a quick little marketing stunt, but people ended up like falling in love with the dress and it became this huge fashion craze. And other companies jumped in and started recreating the dress and making a whole bunch of money. And so people actually call this the like precursor to fast fashion. And I don't know, but people call this the precursor to fast fashion. Wow.
So have you like do y'all have a paper dress in your?
So actually we don't. We do have like a sack dress because back in the Great Depression, people weren't buying as much clothes. So companies would send the like what they send like wheat or rice in and people they would like make patterns on it. People would make dresses out of like the wheat sacks. So we do have one of those in the collection. Out of like sacks that racks rice is in or something like that. Yes, a feed sack. Yes, exactly. Really?
I had one friend who tried it once, but nobody I knew wore those.
Really? No, because wow, no, 'cause yeah. Are you serious? No, because I was researching this and I was like, a paper dress, that's so insane. Like,
Yeah, paper net, like exactly. Like the hospital gowns, like the disposable hospital gowns, like come to a picture. Yes. I don't even know that. Yeah. Sort of ring on when they wash it.
oh, we have a question. Yes.
People online can't hear what's going on.
Later, okay. So nowadays, fashion companies produce about 52 micro seasons a year, which is about 1 new collection a week. A lot of clothes. So people love to keep up with trends nowadays, and the State of Fashion report actually stated that 40% of US consumers and 26% of UK consumers shopped at fast fashion giants. So that takes us into the environmental impacts of fast fashion. So cutting cost means cutting quality. For clothes to be put on the market at such cheap cost, that means they're made out of these really cheap materials that when they're thrown out, they're gonna just be in our landfills and our waterways, and they're gonna decompose and make microplastics instead of decomposing into the ground. They're just gonna make plastics, which pollutes our air and our water quality. And so, whew, so for clothing, these fast fashion companies, and also to make prices so cheap, they outsource their labor to developing countries where government regulations aren't as strict, which means that people working in these factories aren't treated fairly and they're also paid unfairly. So overconsumption is a huge issue nowadays. And that's why the fashion industry gets such bad rap about creating so much waste, because 11 million tons of clothing is thrown out in the US alone. That's just in the United States. But we are making a change. We can do this, especially with the new generation. Sustainable fashion is becoming much more prevalent. People are taking notice to what these fast fashion companies are doing to our environment. But I did want to say, I actually ran into this quote while I was researching. And it said that when informing about fast fashion, it's not about shaming those who cannot afford to buy sustainable clothing, but rather about recognizing our desire as humans to buy things we do not need. And that's really all it is. Like, that's why we have so much waste, is people are buying clothes that are cheaply made and then they're just throwing them out after a few wears, or they're just buying a whole bunch of clothes that they can't even wear. But we're making a push. We're making a push into sustainable fashion. So sustainable fashion is defined as the focus on reducing the environmental and social impact of the fashion industry by promoting ethical production, using eco-friendly materials, and encouraging responsible consumption. There's a couple of things you can do as a consumer to be more sustainable, and I just want to focus on 3 today. So first is upcycling or recycling, which is basically taking a piece of clothing that maybe you don't wear anymore, or maybe it doesn't fit you anymore, and just you can like make it into something new, or like say you have a pair of jeans and it has a hole in them that you would say you can't wear them anymore, but if you just like throw a patch on them, then you could wear them again. So that would be like an example of upcycling or recycling. And then there's thrifting, which we all know. And then I also want to lump renting and swapping clothes, because that's become like really popular lately, where you can like download an app and like rent out a dress for a night, which I think is a really like good compromise. Like if you have an event where you're buying some nice fancy dress that's gonna sit in your closet, you can just rent a dress for one night you can give back. But ooh, you can thrift at stores like Goodwill, but you can also find local shops that also do thrifting. Like we have BT Thrift up here, and I know we have like some people that come out to the farmers market that do like secondhand clothing.
Shop.
Yes, we also have YMCA. Thank you. And then the last thing I want to cover is organic and vegan fashion, which is sorry. So I'll use cotton as an example. So using organic cotton is using cotton that hasn't been treated or used any pesticides, and that promotes healthy water, better biodiversity, and stuff like that. And then vegan fashion is making a piece of clothing that doesn't use any animal products. Like, so leather, silk, and fur are animal products. So it would just be like an outfit that doesn't have any leather, silk, fur. But there's also options like there's vegan leather, which is made of plastic, but that's a good alternative if you still wanted like the leather look without using animal leather. And I also, I wanted to pass out some fabric samples that I have. I have some fabric samples of cotton, flax, polyester. So there's just a mix of some man-made fibers and then some natural fibers that are made just like by growing plants. If y'all have any questions, let me know. Well, one of the best things you can do to be sustainable other than upcycling, thrifting, and using organic clothes is honestly don't overconsume. Yes, you need to have clothes to wear, but you don't need to have a whole bunch of clothes that you sit in your closet that you never wear because you have too many.
That looks like some pop-ups. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
So with the people that have the sheet, I don't remember which fabrics are on there, but some natural fibers are cotton, ramie, wool, silk, and hemp. And then your manufactured fibers are gonna be polyester, nylon, olefin, stuff like that. And the difference between natural and man-made fibers are natural fibers are grown either like on the earth, like cotton is grown. And then like silk is made from, there's spider silk, which is made from spiders. And then there's wool, which is made from sheep's wool. And then your manufactured fibers are gonna be the ones that are made, like polyester is made from plastic, which is why we don't wanna use too much of it, because when plastic gets thrown out, it doesn't decompose. Okay. So now that we talked about how you as a consumer can be sustainable, I want to talk about what you can look for in the industry. So the definition of a sustainable fashion company is it operates in a way that minimizes its negative impact on the environment and the society. So that translates into, sorry, it's gonna go hot. That translates into that they've made a commitment to follow certain standards. And some of these include fair labor practices, which means that they ensure fair wages and safe working conditions and promoting diversity and inclusion for all of their workers. And there's using eco-friendly materials, which is prioritizing eco-friendly materials, which is, like I said, cotton, flax, silk, basically nothing plastic that's not going to decompose when it gets thrown out. And ensuring fair labor down to the supply chain. And then supply chain transparency is being transparent about the environmental and social performance and taking responsibility for their actions. And supporting, oh my gosh. And supporting sustainable initiatives. An example of that can be, sorry, I lost here. Supporting sustainable initiatives, like for example, instead of like, if you're a company and you're shipping your clothes to one of your stores, instead of flying that shipment overseas and creating a bunch of gas that's just gonna pollute the environment, you could instead drive that shipment to the store instead of flying it. And that can also be promoting recycling and waste reduction programs, investing in community development programs, and transitioning to renewable energy sources to power operations. Now we talked about some fast fashion companies. Do y'all know any sustainable fashion companies? Beija, yes, that is one. Patagonia, yes, that's a big one. Yeah, Spec.
There's a woman's name, I can't think of her name.
What happened to be Stella McCartney? Maybe?
It's probably more for my demographic. Anyway, we did a study on sustainable. Eileen Fisher.
Eileen Fisher, yes, that is one. Yep. I put some sustainable fashion companies on my presentation here. I don't want to make it too long, but I did want to focus, since a lot of people know Patagonia, of course. They are an outdoor company, and some of their sustainable efforts are responsible sourcing, using recycled and organic material, and encouraging their consumers to buy less and repair more, while donating a portion of all their sales to environmental causes. And then I mentioned Reformation on here. They are a sustainable women's and clothing accessories company. And their environmental practices involve using eco-friendly materials, reducing waste, and focusing on circular fashion practices like recycling and reworking old garments. And then Veja is the last one I wanted to emphasize, is a sneaker company, and they make their sneakers from recycled cotton. And their practices include fair trade, which means their products have been certified to comply with the fair trade principles, which require producers and manufacturers to promote sustainable livelihoods and safe working conditions for farmers and workers. They also use organic raw materials, and they promote ethical production practices and transparency in their supply chain. I know we mentioned Eileen Fisher. Some other like fashion companies I didn't like put on here are Stella McCartney, which is also a UK-based fashion company, sustainable fashion company, and Everlane is a US-based sustainable fashion company.
Natural fibers and whatnot, but if you go to her website, you can buy upcycled items.
Yes, you can, actually. Some of the other companies that I mentioned also, you can like go on there and they have things like from old collections that they've just upcycled and then resold. That's really cool. But now that we talked about sustainable fashion, I wanted to talk about the Sustainable Fashion Show. So this year we're having our third official Sustainable Fashion Show, and it's presented by the Sustainable Fashion Society and the Office of Sustainability at Virginia Tech. So this is just like a little slide of what we've been up to. We've had weekly workshops come up, and our show is 35 days away. So we've had our models and designers selected, and our designers are working on their outfits. And then we had a photo shoot actually this last weekend, which are these 4 photos around. So that was really cool. Those are highlight of some of our models. And so our theme this year is After the Storm, A Vision of Tomorrow. And this year we're really aiming to just delve into the responsibility we have to make a better future. And our goal is to provoke thought and inspire actions towards like just being more sustainable, just like waking people up and just letting you know, like, you can make a different choice now so your future isn't impacted. Yes. Oh, so yeah, no, that's on one of our workshops, sorry. The date is actually August 29th. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes. So these are just like our workshop posters. So those, just ignore those dates. August 29th. Sorry, sorry. Sorry, I do have August in here. It is April 29th. Yes, I didn't have a time when I made this, but it's at 7:30. And tickets are free, so you don't have to worry about that. And Saburus, yes.
Email that we all. Yes.
That's right. I can give them the date and all the information, yes. We would love to see y'all come. Please show up if you want to like talk to me afterwards. If you have any questions about anything I talked about, please let me know. Okay. Viscose? Oh, yes, that is a manufactured fiber. Yes, that's a fabric, yes.
So it's.
Yes, yes. I have an example actually. I can try to show the Zoom. I also have like, if y'all wanted like more examples of like any like manufactured or natural fibers, I have like a whole binder full of them. Yes, yes, it did actually. Okay, so that's perfect.
There are other questions? I have something to say about the flower sack. My dad always called it a flower sack.
Really?
Apparently, it's always, had the little things. So it was kind of pretty. And, when I was a kid, he'd say, $50, that's too expensive for a dress. And he said, why don't we just make you a flower sack dress? There were no flower sacks at that time. Flower sack, so I guess, that was something.
Yeah,
But that's why they started making them prettier, right?
right. I would say companies, they noticed people were making them. So they like started putting prints and they actually like, they didn't start with a pattern on it, but as they noticed people were like making them into dresses, they put a pattern on them. Yes.
In case people weren't aware, a couple of, off the top of my head, places that do recycle, Runabout Sports takes your tennis shoes that you no longer want and they recycle them, and send them to make multiple, I'm not sure, kids playground or whatever. And then, the YMCA first off, North Main, has textile recycling, and and if it's torn or you don't want to wear it anymore, but it's not wearable, they have, recycling.
But they don't take things now that are stained.
Stained,
or
not there.
Yeah.
Right, but if you want to cut that part out, or, try and think how, but, lots of other recycling things, but textiles specifically.
So in the room, people are talking about some of the resources. And if you look at the Sustainable Blacksburg website under the waste reduction tab, we've compiled all of those sorts of things that we know about. If you know of some things that aren't there, you can email us.
I have a question.
Yes.
So in one of the earlier slides, I think it's when you're talking about the waste that fast fashion accumulates. And if you want to go back a few slides, it was a picture of like a woman, yes, that was a big picture.
Mhm.
So like, what's going on in that picture? Why is there just a landfill of clothing and like, can you tell us like where is this and how does that impact the people, like the local people that area?
Yeah, so I don't actually know exactly where this picture is taken, but this is like a real life picture. When I mentioned that these fast fashion companies outsource their labor to developing companies, our waste is also outsourced to these developing companies. These thrift stores, like thrifting is great. I love thrifting, but there's always a downside because people are buying so much. It's not like thrift stores can just keep all their clothes in one store. They have to eventually throw that out too. That clothes gets thrown out and then sent to these countries where they're just sitting there and just creating so much waste for them. And it does impact their lives. Like I said, these manufactured fibers, when they break down, they don't decompose. So this plastic is getting in their water and in their air, and it's creating just a bad life for them in general. Yes, question in the back.
I'm just wondering how it's purpose that when you return clothing, like you buy it online, like a lot of people, they'll just buy like 3 different sizes because you can't try it on, right? And then
Yeah.
you send it back with them fit. It just goes directly to the landfill. Because it's way too much, it's not.
Yeah.
Making for the company to try to like put it back into the.
Exactly.
street. You just toss it and it goes into it.
Yeah.
Can you mention it?
So you shouldn't try not to do that.
I heard that too.
Yeah, so we were mentioning how like some companies, when you buy something, some people buy like 2 pairs of shoes just to make sure they'll get the right size. When you send back that other size, some companies don't just like return that back onto the sales floor. They'll just send it straight to a landfill.
Buy a plant or something and that's, you want to return it, but it's not right, whatever.
Yeah.
They just throw it away.
Yeah,
They can't, not as bad as garments being thrown away, but it was shocking. I was buying for a client. And it was like,
yeah, and it's crazy because like some part of it is just like clothing companies being lazy and not wanting to just like recycle it back into the sales floors, but some of it is just like negligence and them just not caring enough to do something about it. Yes.
I was wondering how much of the society you're part of, the Sustainable Fashion Society,
Yes.
is focused on sourcing new things with these better companies, with these better materials versus reusing or thrifting. Where is your focus?
So we actually do a mix. We try to focus on all the circular types of fashion. So for our fashion show, we just tell people you can do a mix of, we used to have like a thrifted category where you could go to a thrift store, buy an outfit that you liked, and then just style it up with some other things you had in your closet. But we promote all types of sustainable fashion. So you can thrift something and then you can come in and then like upcycle it. We do like to put a focus on just like, if you're taking something that you don't want to use, try to use like the whole thing instead of just like using a part of it and then still having to throw something out. So if you're gonna buy something, don't just buy it if you're just gonna like cut it up because you just want the buttons on it. Try to use like the whole shirt for something else. Any other questions? Yes.
Any interest or any research on what it costs to produce a garment? For instance, I heard socks
Mm-hmm.
take 99 gallons of water.
Mm-hmm.
and your average shower is 17.2 gallons of water.
Mhm.
So I think those, for me, those type of statistics speak to me.
Yeah.
Do y'all incorporate any of that?
Sorry, what was that? I didn't put any statistics on this presentation, but yes, I have done research and it does take, like, when I talked about cotton, it takes tons of water just to make one singular pair of jeans. So yes, that is very real information. Yeah. I think you were gonna mention something.
Back to the last slide,
The last-
to the contact.
Oh, yes. Then I also put our Instagram for the Sustainable Fashion Society and the VT Office of Sustainability, if y'all wanted to just like keep up with us for our fashion show and anything that the Office of Sustainability posts.
Thank you so much, Sierra.
Thank you. And then I know we wanted to, I would say yes, I know we wanted to mention some events that they had posting, and then I also wanted to really look into like some of the items that people brought, so we can also move into that.
Well, I'm the treasurer of Sustainable Blacksburg, and I wanted to say thank you to you and
Thank you.
give you a small gift, which is a repurposed bag that has our logo.
Love bags.
That didn't happen, so Brenda very creatively upcycled them. So I'm Ann Reardon with Sustainable Blacksburg, and I just want to tell you about a few other things coming up, but I also want to put in a plug for the Sustainable Fashion Show because I went for the first time last year. And it was so much fun. I mean, it was creative and just, and I mean, it's a fashion show. They're walking the walk and everything. So I would definitely encourage everybody to do that. It will be in our next email. And if you're not on the email list, you'll sign up here or put your email address in the chat. A few other things that are related. This Saturday at Blacksburg Community Center, there's a kids consignment sale. So for the kids in your life, kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, there will be all kinds of gently used clothing, shoes, toys, games, all sorts of stuff like that. There's often a lot of Virginia Tech apparel too. So for those of you who maybe even have relatives who are fans, you can find that there. We are also working with Blacksburg High School and the YMCA to collect the more recent blue graduation caps and gowns. And initially they're going to the students who can't afford to buy their own. I'd love it for eventually it to be that they're just always passed down because you wear it for a few hours. Yes.
So we bought the outfit. So maybe you guys can say, if you don't want it afterwards, take it back to Blacksburg High School and they'll collect it, or you'll collect it, or something like that.
Right. Yeah, somebody's asking about the cap and gown collection, and I have been trying that. The problem in the past has been storage, because the senior, I've been working with the senior class sponsor at the high school, and I think maybe now we have a place we can take them so that people could just even right after graduation drop them off. Sorry, I feel like I'm forgetting something else. Oh, sorry. This program is part of a monthly series that we do with the library. So next month is legal climate action, a local example. So at the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. And we have someone here from the McKeep Clothing Bank too, who's going to tell you a little bit about that. He is very familiar with the issues of what ends up at the thrift stores.
Sure, thanks y'all. I'm Matt Nottingham. I volunteer at the McKeep Blacksburg Clothing Shop that's open Thursday mornings, Old Town Hall, the side entrance. I've got some things here for you all. You can either use a QR code or just take it with you. This is a great presentation because we see that there is actually way more supply than demand. So unfortunately, we get in more than we can sell. And I've heard from other thrift stores the same thing, is that there's too much buying on the front end. But well, for those that know, it's a really good thing. Everything I'm wearing here is from our store. And, you know, you can find things that are just brand new, some things are very fashionable.
And you look very nice.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad it worked out. Over here on this table is one of our volunteers who's been running a class. She did a class at the library recently on visible mending. And, you know, it's not only finding great new things, hey, I can put right into my fashion, but you can take things and either repair, upgrade them, or just take even perfectly great things and just add your own art, your own statement, and it becomes, you know, a part of who you are, your fashion versus just wearing someone else's ideas. So great things that you can do at the thrift store. The why is an important part in our whole chain because yes, we can recycle some of our things there. So there's a whole network going on out there for people to tap into to help the environment out and have great fashion. So thank you so much for bringing everything to attention today.
Thank you. Can I grab one of those cards?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll give you a few and you
Like,
can pass
that's not
them
my
out.
meeting
Yeah,
out
sure.
there.
And sorry, I knew I was gonna forget one other thing, but the Blacksburg Vintage Market has already started. I didn't realize that when I sent the last newsletter, but the second and fourth Sundays at Blacksburg Farmers Market, you can find all kinds of vintage, upcycled things there. It's 10 to 5, I think it is, but we put that in our email news too.
Stitch Fix, you know, those guys, it's sort of like recycling, but then you buy from them and they stop.
I think it's like a good like option for people that maybe just want to like revamp their wardrobe, but honestly, it's not something I would necessarily buy into because I personally like being able to just like pick a couple of pieces that I personally like looked at and like liked myself. I think it's a good option that's like it's pretty sustainable, but I feel like it can get a little out of hand. I feel like if you're getting like too much clothing from them a year. So yeah.
And just to add to that, one of my sister's high school friends and her mom use something like Stitch Fix, which is, from my understanding, it's one of the services where you can pick a set amount of clothing options, they'll send it to you, you have it for the month and you can send it back. Is that what Stitch Fix is?
So I thought it was just use a bot.
You buy it and it just keeps coming, I think each month more. If you say this is my style. these are the
Yep.
colors that are like-
Oh.
The one you're talking about, I know what you're talking about, but I forgot the name.
I
The
thought
Yeah.
Stitch Fix was useless.
No.
It's not, is
No,
it?
Stitch Fix is new. There's something that you can sell your clothes like a Poshmark.
Yeah,
I used to go to the
There's
library
Fred.
and
no, there's a whole bunch. Yeah.
And, you know, they advertise themselves as.
And maybe they've changed.
Thrift stores.
Yeah.
There's going to be an exhibit of those clothes at the Y afterwards, some of them.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, sorry. Following the Sustainable Fashion Show, there will be an exhibit of the fashions for a couple of weeks, like end of April, early May. There's a new gallery at the Y thrift store, and preceding that, there's gonna be something related that the Office of Sustainability is doing. And then starting soon after the Sustainable Fashion Show, you'll be able to see them there in the gallery. If you were on your way to the event room and turned right, you would find the gallery. There's some artwork there right now, but it's a very nice space and a lot of people pass through there.
Is the information that would be coming through email also, if I click like on the Facebook page, then that information would be coming to that?
Somebody's asking if everything would also be posted on the Facebook page. Usually, well, often it's mostly the Sustainable Blacksburg events that make it on the Facebook page. I try to share a lot of other people's events, but it's mostly me sharing the social media and the emails and everything, and not everything makes it onto the Facebook page. I try to also get it all. We have a calendar running calendar, our website. And I know that everything I sent out recently is not there, but I try to put all of those events on the calendar on the website too. If somebody has something in particular to share, you can email sustainableblacksburgva@gmail.com. And actually, and now I'm also remembering another major event coming up is the Y-Toss, where the Y collects items that might otherwise be thrown away by students moving out on campus and then stores them for a sale in August. And there's always a huge need for community volunteers because the students are, of course, very busy. So we also try to help recruit volunteers for that. I think it's one of the best ideas ever, and I'm sure it's one of the major sustainability efforts in town because you can, literally see it all too. That's another thing I really like about it is you're not sending your stuff off somewhere wondering if it's going to end up in the landfill. You can see it going into the pods and you can see it being sold to incoming students. And so many of these things can just be cycled through many, many times.
Also, it's not out being shipped somewhere at the expense of trucking.
Right, exactly. And I don't remember the exact date. It's in May. It's usually starting, move out week. The big days during move out week are Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And truly, if it would be so much easier if we had somebody at every pod for the whole time, because when there's nobody there, everything just gets dropped off and it could be all over the lawn and be a lot more work than to pack it away. And still so much stuff ends up in the dumpsters too. I mean, I honestly wonder how our landfill can even absorb all of the stuff that comes from Virginia Tech throughout the year.
And it's pretty fun to be a White House volunteer. So, I mean, if you want to do it, think about it because it's a lot of fun. The students are, they're very gracious and they're happy to see that their stuff is going to be reused and they're, excited to start their summer or their graduate, getting jobs and stuff. So it's really kind of a fun, positive day to hang out on.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, Brenda. Yes, it's before. Right. So yeah, it's that the pods are delivered like the Friday before, but the days when volunteers are really needed are Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of that week, because that's when everybody's really moving their stuff out. And we also had a comment in the room about that it can be fun to volunteer there. Because the students are happy to see their stuff get reused. The parents are especially happy too, not to have to cram stuff in their car or throw it away. But it would make such a big difference if there was somebody there for the whole time.
That's amazing how many plastic containers. Everybody has the exact same plastic containers.
Right. They also have started too that volunteers, I don't remember if you have to work a certain number of hours, but volunteers can shop the sale early too, because it's not just for the students. And so you can go if you need, I mean, a lot of it is storage kind of stuff, but there's housewares. I bought a shoe rack there last year. So anyway, there's a benefit to that too. And the sale usually happens at the Lancaster House. And if you're a volunteer, there is also on-campus parking for the Y-Toss collection too. So if you volunteer, you can park near the Lancaster House. And if you needed it, they have golf carts and can take you to the farther away pods if you're not able to walk there. Sorry.
No, you're completely fine.
We have a couple of people who wore their thrift shop.
I'd love to see it.
Okay, so we're gonna have a little fashion in the room here.
This is my sister piece, actually, this jacket, I took it this recently, so.
Where does it come from?
I actually got this on this site called Whatnot, I don't know if y'all know what that is. This is so like, my generation coded, but it's like this live selling app where people like jump online and they'll sell their clothes like online, so. Okay.
So who else wants to do us to go yet? Okay. I'll go.
thrift store, and I will tell you, it came with money in it. The jacket, the top, the scarf, the pants, the shoes, the socks. All thrifted.
We volunteer at, McKee Clothing Bank. Clothing Bank, on by Church Street in Jackson. And this jacket, it's, I think 60% wool, we said.
Yeah.
The top, I'm pretty sure came from, Goodwill. I don't remember where the pants came from or this top. The shoes also were a consignment shop.
Very nice.
The jewelry, this is from Buy Nothing, Blacksburg, and I buy vintage diamonds. So they're recycled too, also. And a lot of these clothes, if you come up here and see, or stuff I've, upcycled. So there's, most of my closet is thrifted, almost all. I might buy some staples, black pants, black skirts. But most of it is all upcycled. I don't know if y'all heard of Magnolia Pearl. It's a clothing line that does jeans. And they upcycle it with patches, as you mentioned. $600 they charge. Now, it's more elaborate than this piece, but I can do my own, Magnolia Pearl for a lot less. I did all of this, yeah.
That's very creative. It looks nice together.
And I get compliments everywhere I wear them, and they're unique. They're my own. They're my way of expressing art. I call this art.
And as Ann mentioned, this was actually taught at another library event here.
Yeah, the library is doing, visible mending. I think our next class is May 8th. You have to register for it. Yeah, we did.
I always try to put those in our email news too.
There's flyers out there. Y'all wanna just come up and see, or I don't know how. So this had a bad ink stain on it. And this is called reverse applique. So I put the patch underneath and stitched on. This one had, how many sweaters have a hole in the elbow? It's felt, it's just felt with embroidery. It's a plain, but it allows this sweater to be worn again for, another few years.
You want to explain this piece?
So
That looks really cool.
this is, I get compliments on this all the time. It's a linen shirt. I like to work with linens and cottons, the natural fibers. I started with one patch that I liked, and I added fabric around the colors in that one patch. Same thing on this side. This side is machine stitched with my sewing machine. This is hand stitched.
Like quilting?
It's called, boro stitching or sashiko, and some countries call it Kampa stitching. So different countries, different areas have different words for it. But it's the same thing you saw on the jeans. I just went with circular pattern on the jeans, a little different.
So did you do those using your hand?
This is by hand.
I don't know if you all can hear all of the discussion, but these are some of the upcycled fashions that are being shown.
Sorry.
No,
This again is, reverse applique. And it had some stains on it, and then I just took a little bit extra. It had a stain up here I hadn't noticed earlier. So that was some of what I cut out. I just added a little extra, we call them features. Features.
We're still on.
And then I think this piece, my friend, Florence got at a yard sale this weekend, but this is the kind of stuff you can get, and it's got a little snap right here. This might not stay in your closet very long, Florence.
It's not cold in my house. It was a bride told me, she got married Christmas, it was cold, and her grandmother bought her that stove wear with her wedding dress.
I think it's my dress. You want to see
That?
I don't know if they could hear you.
Oh, okay. This is, this was bought at a yard sale this past weekend. Oops, it's frozen. It's a stole. A bride, got married in the winter and her grandmother bought her the stole. But this is the kind of, treasures, if you will, at yard sales and thrift stores, even around Blacksburg. I'm sure it's synthetic.
I don't know, she could have said.
Carosilla, not chinchilla, but carosilla. 100% polyester.
Oh, there you go.
So did anybody else? Are you, I didn't mean to cut you off. Are you done? Did anybody else want to share? And I think our online people are still online, so maybe.
So this came from the Goodwill in Fairlawn out in Radford. I needed a purse because I'm one of those people, I only have one purse and mine just broke. So I went there and I was like, I had to buy something. I didn't want to buy anything new. And I found this and I think it was $11 or something. And it's like one of my, like, I love the pattern on it and stuff. One of the things I do to cut down on the amount of clothes that I buy is to do like a capsule wardrobe. I don't know if anybody else does that, but you basically try to only have so many items. So like 30 is a really common number and you just rotate things and do like layering and stuff. So I usually do like black tank top, black leggings. And then this came from, I think somebody mentioned ThredUp, which is an online consignment shop. So my recommendation, if you're going to use it, is if you have a brand that's like, maybe it's fast fashion, but you know you wear it a lot, but you don't want to buy new, is you can go on there if you know, okay, I like, this is, I think Knox Rose, which is a Target brand. And you know, okay, I like that brand. I like the way it fits me and you know your size. You can go on and order a couple pieces and then add those into like your capsule wardrobe. So that's a really good way. And my way that I use it, because I don't want to have to return things, is to just use brands that I know that I like the type of fabric they're using and I know my size in them, so I don't have to return it.
The other thing, you're talking about ThredUp.
Yes.
The other thing about ThredUp that I discovered is as you buy things, it'll keep track of how much you buy, and then if you buy a certain amount, you get a credit to buy new stuff.
Yes.
From places like the Gap or Toyota Company. I think there's 3 or 4 companies that you might have done it more recently than I did, but yeah, I got like a credit for like $20 toward the purchase of something that I would have bought new.
Yeah.
You know, again, when I was way buying new stuff, but sometimes.
Sometimes you have to just, and I try to buy stuff that I know is gonna last. So like Old Navy leggings, I'll wear those until like for like a couple of years until they just fall apart or something. And I try to, they don't make them now, but they used to have like ones that were mostly cotton, but now the last time I went, they were like synthetic fabric. I don't know if you have any recommendations for people who are doing a capsule wardrobe, if there are good companies that you recommend to buy those kind of basic things. That was one question I wanted to ask you.
You should probably come up.
Oh, yeah, so people online can hear you.
Honestly, let me turn this back on. I don't know if I know any specific companies. I don't shop new that often. I mostly thrift. So honestly, that's like usually my recommendation to people is like, I also found that I like thrifting online more than I like thrifting in store. So I don't like buying clothes online, but when I'm able to just like see something and then just like watch it for a little while to see if I really want it, that's why I like buying like more online. So like that's really like I have like a plethora of places you can shop online if y'all are interested, like eBay, obviously everybody knows about eBay. You have Depop, you have places like Grailed, you have ThreadUp, you have like Vinted, a whole bunch of places where you can get like basics. There's even been like more like designer places that are opening up where people can shop like thrifted designer shoes, everything. So if y'all have any questions about that, just let me know and I can give you some recommendations. See, that's also an issue. That's also why I don't like buying as much clothes online. I really like trying on my clothes, especially since I'm tall. Like I bought these pair of jeans, I thrifted them and they didn't even fit me. And now I have to just like give them to somebody else. So that's one issue. Really, I just try to like I try to know my measurements as best as I can. Like I honestly like I'll go and like actually like measure myself sometimes so I can see like, is this gonna fit me? Or am I gonna buy this and it's gonna be kind of like a waste? So it's one way it can help.
If you send some of those online resources, we can post that on.
Oh, perfect. I can do that, yeah. Yes.
One of the things we see at the thrift store and the volunteer is you see really nice, high quality things coming in. So you just have to go and you have to look
Yes.
and be consistent with your looking and go every week or Wednesday or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's one thing. I know like a lot of people I know, they like just don't like thrifting because either one, they think it's too much stuff to look through, or they feel like they can never find what they look for. But that's the thing about thrifting. It's not like you're going into Target and going into their shirt section and picking out from the plethora of shirts they have. When you're thrifting, you really are gonna have to take the time to actually like look through the racks, see what other people are like returning after they don't try something on, really like look because you'll never know what you can find. Like even like some of the jewelry I have on today, I thrifted. It's like, I never even thought I'd find it, but I just happened to be looking and there it was, so you never know what you can find at the thrift store. Like I know people that have found like brands that are worth hundreds of dollars that they got for like $5 at their store. So
New venture.
it definitely really is.
And I was gonna share, I got this shirt before I took the deep grease last year, and it reminds me of that because blue and white and, these kind of patterns are something you see a lot there. And the rest of my clothes are also thrifted, although if I've been thinking, I have a similar pair of shoes to these that are brown that I actually bought at the kids consignment sale because some of these teenagers have shoes that fit us. So, I mean, fit more mature adults. That's true. Does anybody else want
I'm not gonna hear hand-me-downs mentioned, so I'll just share that. Denim jacket with my mother's. Denim jacket's a classic, right?
Yes.
Well, they don't need that. I think I've heard my word.
I love a good hand-me-down.
Sure, why don't you, come on up? Staying online.
You guys know about photofaxing?
Yeah. Can you stand a little closer and go ahead and show this?
So yes, please show. This is beautiful.
It's made out of scraps. Everyone is different because they're made out of scraps from other equipment. And so you get whatever colors you get. And I love it. I've used it on many trips. Just in the last 6 months, I've taken it to Vancouver and Seattle and Australia as my carry-on.
Sorry, what was the name of it?
Cotopaxi, like the mountain in South America. And it's one of the sustainable things.
It's hard to lose at the airport.
It's hard to lose an airport, of course, it's on you anyway. This jacket I got at a yard sale that they had to. It was a fundraiser for the Prices for Community Center. And I love it. It's sort of a sweater jacket, but, I was making a donation to a good cause. My whole $5. This I've had for years and I've worn a lot. But it started out from a Goodwill store in Carytown, Richmond for $1 or something. They used to have that upscale.
Yeah.
It's out of business now. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not there anymore. I have a bunch of friends that do a clothing swap at least once a year. So this used to belong to a friend of mine. And she decided it didn't fit right anymore, and practically all my contra dance clothes are thrifted or traded. And the only other thing I brought, this I got new, but it's Patagonia from their recycled things. and people return things, they're not quite sure the process, but they break down used clothes from other people and remake. And if it has a little R on the sleeve, means it's made from recycled clothing, but it's the quality of brand new, but it's made from recycled fibers. And I couldn't bring my whole closet.
I was thinking, right, like, I would have backed out and different stuff, but I've had this
Same.
back since my first year of high school, I'm currently 24. So that's like 10-ish years, I wanna say, and I got a new laptop that's like 17 inches. The backpack doesn't exactly hold 17 inches, so it actually created a hole up here, and instead of throwing away my new backpack, I sewed it up. Okay, so I'm very proud of myself for that. And then same with these little pockets, just as they get bigger, I try to sew them up as well. I'm trying to have this backpack for the rest of my life. And then of course I have some thrifted jeans, and jeans always fit weird on me, so this is one of the only pair of blue jeans I own, part of the capsule wardrobe. And so I also have my fancy beiges, bejas. So I've had these for over a year at this point. They're just super easy to clean and keep up with. So I don't think a lot. That's my little sustainability for the day.
You remind me of another event coming up. The New River Valley Time Bank does a repair cafe twice a year. So the spring one is gonna be on May 3rd, and it's at the Habitat for Humanity Restore in Christiansburg. So they do clothing repairs, furniture, electronics, different things like that. And I think you can bring up to like 3 items and to have, tool sharpening is another one too. You can bring up furniture repair, right,
Clothing.
So I think it's like 10 to 2, but we always publicize that too. There's also a tool sharpening event happening at the Hale Community Garden next Saturday from 1 to 3. There will be you can get gardening advice between 10 and 1, and Acadia will be there with a bunch of information about our different programs and things too. So it's a DIY tool sharpening workshop.
Is that this Saturday or next Saturday?
This Saturday.
Okay, that's what I thought, yes, okay.
Did I
Are
not
those
say
like-
that? Okay, sorry. Yeah, this Saturday, March 29th.
So this, once you rip apart the side seams, be able to put on the patches you want. That makes it easier, and then when you're done, you stitch this up. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do about this pocket.
Oh. The library does a lot of swap events too. They've had clothing swaps and kitchen supply swaps and craft and, yeah, school supply swaps and.
Oh, and these are men's jeans. By the way, don't forget to shop in the men's section.
And somebody had a question? Your old dryer? As far as I know, just at the Solid Waste Authority, we actually just got rid of the washer.
I didn't see it, they don't take it, I got
Blue Ridge Recycling, I heard would potentially take some things and pay for it, but I don't know, we took a washer recently, Solid Waste Authority. The Montgomery Regional Solid Waste Authority, out near the Frog Pond and, the Mid-County Park in Christiansburg, the animal shelter, the county animal shelter as well. I don't think they do pickups. I think that actually, if you look for Blue Ridge Recycling, I think they will actually pick up. We want to drop ours off. I don't know. Well, you know, often when you get something new, when they deliver it. Okay, I'm sorry?
Is that one scared of it? I need to figure stuff out, place on Scarabit Drive.
No, I don't, but I think you're right, because I was looking at that recently.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's still there or not, but. Please divide it. Aluminum and tape, I lost more stuff. I think it's all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Right, right. Well, yeah, the Solid Waste Authority has some metal bypass too, and they actually take like the prison like. Yeah, I'm like.
Thanks so much again. and
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that fashion show.
I hope you'll come, and then I'm gonna pass out some of these cards. I've never heard of y'all actually.
Yeah, I know, we're just a little store, but yeah, we have some students that are really into fashion and they love the place because we sell very inexpensively.
Really, okay.
And you know, like you said, you have to hunt for it, but if you have the eye for it, and you find it quickly, and wow.
Cause you never know. when
Some
you
of the
can find
stuff
it
I
at
see and wear, it's like, you know, pick out, it's like, I can't believe it.
I know.
That's awesome.
I know, I love
So,
it.
you know, you guys will love it.
I was like, and I'll definitely come and check it out. I'll
Okay.
definitely be there.
That's good.
Thank you so much for coming.
One thing.
I've got a class to get to, but. Yes, I will. So we're all. Oh, and